Welcome to yoga practice. Thank you for being here. We have a couple of guest students. One is hiding behind me. You can see his tail if you look closely. It's just there. And hi to you, Nandita. Thanks for being here. You want to have a healthier lymph system? A better attitude? Oh, there's a sound outside. We got to go. We got to go check what's happening. Some sounds must be explored. Okay, so this morning in this practice, we're going to be looking at the lymph system and also the endocrine system and how we can bring those back into balance. What I'm going to do is about 3 short vignettes of yoga. So you'll have like this practice for about 20 minutes, including a rest and then 20 minutes and a rest and then 20 minutes with a rest. And my intention there is that you can choose then at any point during your day, a 20-minute reset that could be helpful to you so that you're staying focused with your goals for your health, for recovery, for mental well-being, for all the things. So in this regard, we're going to be working through the endocrine system and the lymph system, and from the top down, the pineal and pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the thymus. In this region, we have the pancreas and the adrenals. Speaking of in terms of the endocrine system, of course, you also have your stomach and your liver. And then we have the organs of procreation. And of course, you also have the elimination process there. The glands on the endocrine system are ones I was mentioning specifically. You know, in the chest, you also have your heart and your lungs, of course, but the thymus is related to your endocrine system. So take a comfortable seat, rest your hands in your lap. You can do palms face down if you like to feel more grounded, or sometimes palms face up if you want to have like an attitude of openness or surrender or receptivity. So whichever is needed for you right now, whatever feels more comfortable. And as you connect with your body right here in the present, I just named off a bunch of systems in your body, and you know, you may or may not know the names of those systems, and that is totally fine. But see if you might come into a kind of respectful awe that your body has these organs and glands and systems. All of this is already built into your system to support you with your health. And we're kind of making a request of all of these glands and organs and systems, like, can we move our health towards harmony and homeostasis and vitality? Allow your breathing to become smoother and more even. That's going to start a message, a process of messaging your adrenal gland that right now you're practicing for equanimity, for harmony. You're not practicing to punish your body. You're not practicing because you had a downward spiral with food. You're not practicing because you're feeling like the critical voice is so demanding. Those things may be happening, but our practice is not to fight against those things. Our practice is to cultivate right now a message to the adrenal glands that we are not under threat. We are not lost in the storm. But right now, at this moment, we've chosen to practice yoga. And we want an internal attitude of equanimity and harmony, like an attitude of inner peace. So let the adrenal glands know this. They sit at the back of your rib cage above your kidneys. You can imagine breathing into the posterior and lateral ribs as a way to send that message to the adrenal. You may even make a little mantra to go with that message, like, may I be at peace. May we be at peace. And then raise your hands to your heart. And with appreciation for your efforts to be here, you may bow your head to your heart. And then release both hands, and you're welcome to open your eyes. So let's start with something that moves the lymph system, and it's pretty simple to do, so that even if you're in the midst of the temptation for those food detours or the temptation to be hijacked by the mind, you could actually take this on and interrupt those detours. So take the left arm out, use the right hand, and this is called deportment. So you go from the hand up towards the shoulder. You can go up to the top of the shoulder right here. So we're on the top of the arm right now, the top of the forearm, the top of the upper arm, the top of the shoulder. Let's turn the palm face up and do the underside of the arm. And then to get into the back side of the arm here, raise your elbow, and you go from the elbow towards the armpit. And you can actually spend some time giving those deportments into the armpit, because the lymph glands are there. So you actually want to have some activation in that region. And now let's take this arm out to the side, palm facing forward, and tap from the shoulder in towards the heart. I should say in towards the sternum, so you're even including the sternum bone. And that tapping on the sternum, by the way, opens up, gives a message to the thymus, which is a gland associated with your immune system. Okay, now let's let this arm come down. Both hands can come down, and notice what's happening left to right in your body. And now the other side. So take the right arm out and use your left hand. And we are going from the distal to the proximal, from the most distant point to the closest point. So we're coming up the arm on purpose. Turn your palm face up. And then go to the back of the arm and into the armpit. Okay, and now what we do here when we're in the armpit region is it is still deportment. So you're just waking some stuff up, and then you're going to come across the chest, take the right arm out to the side. And when you come across, come into the sternum, the thymus gland is there. And then let's do the fingers on the sternum. Okay, and then let both arms rest. Place your hands in your lap and take notice there. So getting some movement in the lymph system, one of the things that can happen is we don't even know we have all the sludge in the system. So we feel kind of heavy or lethargic or depressed or pessimistic. We feel like our hormones are off balance and like, oh gosh, I'm just like swimming about in these emotions. What am I going to do about my emotions from the mind? And actually moving the lymph system can help us to even clear up the emotions. So let's put the scenic sitting props aside and come up to standing. And when you come up to stand, take a stance like horse stance. So it's like you're riding a horse. You've got the knees bent, a little bit wider than hip distance. Now we've just done this with the arms, and let's stay with the upper body lymph system for this first vignette. So use your fists strongly when you go back and fingers when you come forward. And we're going to have a brisk breath cycle, right? So it's in briskly and out briskly. Five, four, three, two, one. Now let the arms swing until they're still. Stand tall and just take a deep breath in, like a loving inhale. And then exhale and notice all the movement in your body, like the internal movement, the circulation, respiration, innervation. The lymph is also moving right now. Okay, now we're going to go toes, heels out. We're going to call this the jazz dance warm-up pose. So come down. Yes. When you come down, place the toes so they point in the same direction as the knees, so your toes don't go farther than your knees can go. Press firmly into both arms with straight elbows. Allow the shoulders to shrug up towards your ears. Gaze forward and down. And now imagine the breath moving in the interior of the body and expanding. Remember that you can send a message to the adrenals. And right now we're working towards peace and harmony inside. So may I be at peace. May we be at peace. You can imagine that the phrase, may we be at peace, is like between you and your adrenals, between you and all the beautiful systems of your body. May we be at peace between our thoughts and our actions, between our emotions and our search for empathy and support versus derailing ourselves with food and other substances. Now press down into both heels. Inhale, rise up to standing. Make your feet parallel. Okay, and then take your right arm across your torso. Wrap your hand over the opposite shoulder blade. And specifically close the shoulder joint for a few moments here. Rotate your head to your right. And breathe in. And then exhale, come to center and wrap the left arm across. Place your hand over your shoulder blades. Turn your head to your right. To your left, excuse me. It's my right, but your left. And then come back to center. Now that's a little bit of a warm-up practice for this one. Sweep the arms wide. And then wrap your right elbow over your left elbow. Now I know that they don't wrap for everyone, in which case you can reach for your yoga strap to hold your hands. This is called eagle pose. I just wrapped my elbows and then the wrists and fingers. Okay. And you do want to have something to hold on to, so my fingers are holding each other here. And then with this position, inhale, raise your elbows up. Exhale, squeeze your elbows down. And then come forward and allow the upper back to release. So any tension between the shoulder blades can let go. You're going to keep the arms bound like this because we're working on temporarily constricting the lymph system. Breathe into the back hemisphere of your body. You can use that mantra again for your adrenals. May we be at peace. May I be at peace. And then with an inhale, release your hands and elbows, sweep your arms wide, rise up to standing, raise your arms up overhead. And then exhale, take the arms wide. Let's bring the left elbow over the right, weave the arms around. Right, inhale, take the elbows up. Exhale, squeeze them down. If you can't wrap your arms, it's totally understandable. I did not wrap my arms for the first couple of years of yoga practice. So I had to hold my socks to keep my hands from flying apart. So you can hold a strap or a sock or a bathrobe sash. And then come down. Allow the upper back to relax and to broaden in this position while you keep the arms bound on the front side. Let's breathe into the back hemisphere of the body. This temporary constriction of the circulation and the lymph is an important way that we do cleansing. So we're kind of making like a dam as you would in a river, and then we're going to open this dam and it's going to flush the system. So as you next inhale, release your hands, open your arms wide, rise up, float your arms overhead. And then exhale, float the arms down. Let's go heel toe until you're standing in mountain pose. And notice what things feel like right now. What is the inner experience you have with yourself? May you be at peace. I'll do one more thing in this sequence, and then I'm going to have you pause and integrate and to see what that's like so that you'll know you could do like 12 minutes of yoga. We had a sitting practice to start. I gave a little introduction. But this is really about maybe 12 or 15 minutes of yoga to demonstrate that we can make a significant change in a small amount of time. So this loop is extra. You don't need the loop part. You just need the strap. Take both arms forward. Raise both arms up. And then slide your hands apart on the strap as far as you need to bring your arms down. I stepped so you can see my arms with the dark frame behind me. Now my hands are pretty close to each other because I have flexible shoulders. There's no like friction in my shoulder joints to do this, but you need to have the hands as wide apart as makes sense for you. Right? Now take a wide stance. Let's keep the hips centered so they're not going to move. On the inhale, rotate your torso to your right. Give a little more strength on the left strap, the left arm. And then exhale to center. So we're also working with the thymus gland here. We're going to go to the left, give the right arm a little more responsibility, keep the hips centered. So it is a twist in the upper back. And then exhale to center. Let's go again to the right. And exhale. And one more time to the left. And exhale to center. Release your hands from the strap so your arms can float down. Notice the circulation going down your arm. Bend your knees. Come back down to your jazz dance warm-up pose, but this time, instead of supporting with your hands, stand in the strength of your legs, which is also going to then include the lower body lymph system, of course. But stand in the strength here. And we're going to finish with this brisk practice. If there's any yayas left in the mind, we can kind of work them out. We're going across on each side. So it's a strong action with the hand and with the fist, like this. This is called saying no to say yes. So say no to what? To say yes to you. Say yes to your inner peace. It's a strong exhale out the mouth, like this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now inhale, rise up. Make your feet parallel. And exhale, come down. Now allow the mind and the breath to settle. Return to this mantra, may you be at peace. You can say to yourself, of course, may I be at peace. May we be at peace. Between you and your body, may you be at peace. And then return to your sitting position from where you began class. We'll take a minute or two to sit quietly. Now, if you were to do the same sequence without me instructing it, it would actually go a little bit quicker. So once you have the sequence, you know, okay, I can run through that sequence and make a state shift. It's called a state shift, an internal state shift. And so rest your hands in your lap. Imagine that you're like a snow globe and you set that globe. After shaking it, you set it on the counter and it's going to get really still. Now let's move to the second yoga vignette, as I like to call it. And this one's going to be for the lower body, the lymph in the lower body. So you can think of there we were really addressing the lymph and the thymus. And every time you breathe in with this mantra, you're also addressing the adrenals. And since they send a message to the whole system, so they send a message to the pineal and the pituitary, and that message cascades down all the way into the whole body. So given that, now let's take this. You're going to lie on your back for a moment, well, a couple minutes. So find a comfortable place to lie on your back and do it with the knees bent. And using the right leg first, I'm going to ask you to clasp your hands behind the right knee. And then when you exhale, squeeze your knee into your chest. When you inhale, let the knee move away from the chest. And not only is this helpful for the lymph system, but also for digestion, and for some people also for the lower back. You inhale, straighten the elbows, let the thigh actually press into your hands a bit. And then exhale and squeeze your knee towards your chest. Now, take your right leg straight up, whatever straight is for you. It could be that your hamstrings are tight enough that your knee is a little bit bent, and that's going to be okay too. So with the right leg up, then I'd like you to flex and point the toes like this. You're asking your lymph system to be activated here. Lymph is really essential for our entire well-being. As I was saying, mental, emotional, physical, our immune system, our digestive system, everything, the endocrine system, we just can't name a system that isn't positively affected by the lymph working well. Okay, now make a circle with your ankle in both directions. Okay, and then inhale, reach up through your heel. And exhale with a straight leg to the extent possible. Lower your leg down to the floor. You're going to get like maybe an inch or two from the floor. And when you get there, then drop your leg down. Let's put the left leg out next to the right leg and notice the difference between your two legs. Okay, now take your left knee and bring that one up to your chest. You can bend the right knee so it's more stable for your pelvis. And what we're going to do is inhale, take the knee away. Exhale, glide in. Inhale. Exhale. You can think of like you're giving yourself a yoga therapy treatment right now. Inhale, move the knee away, open up the lower region of the abdomen and the groin, and then exhale and squeeze in, almost like you're squeezing a sponge. Now take your left leg up straight. So even if you have the flexibility to go past straight, we're going to go towards vertical. And if your hamstrings are tight, you can be with a bent knee like this. And we're going to pump the ankle, flex and point your toes. And think of, oh, I'm doing my housekeeping chores right now, the inner cleansing of the body, right? And you can do it. That's the really cool thing, is that you are capable of doing this healing technique for yourself. So we call it a self-empowering, self-healing, self-care practice. Let's make some circles with the ankle in both directions. And then you got your leg up. And I'm going to ask you to use a straight leg. Once you can straighten it, if it's not yet straight, we're going to go down slowly, slowly to the floor. When you get like an inch or two from the floor, then pause and then drop the leg down. Take the right leg with it and notice each leg. Okay, please bend your knees and roll to your side and come up to a seat. I'm going to recommend that you sit on a bolster or a blanket, whatever is going to give your hips some elevation. Okay. And I'd like you to sit so that you just have the ankles crossed like this. Okay. So crossing the ankles, one in front of the other, let's put the right one in front and the left one on the inside. And then with your fists, we're going to make a circle in the direction of digestion. So since we're recording this, you're going to see my direction. It's going to look opposite from your direction, but it's because of the circumstance. You're going to go up the right, across the top, and down the left in these little tapotments. We're just asking for some circulation to come in. We're going in the direction of digestion. We're going in the direction of the ascending colon, transverse, descending. Okay, having done that, we're going to keep going a few moments more. But having done this, we're asking for circulation across these organs to say, hey, good morning, and thank you. Thank you to all of the support that we get from these internal systems of the body. Now, I'd like you to lean a little bit forward, take your hands around back, and give that same tapotment to the kidneys and the adrenals and to the lower back. And as you're doing that, you can find your own rhythm for it, of course. And think of each tapotment as like you're actually saying thank you and waking up the organs. And then rise up to your seat and take notice how that feels in the body. Okay, now with the right ankle in front, bring your left hand across to your right knee, walk your right hand around behind you, and please twist to your right, look over your right shoulder. And allow the breath to be rhythmic and deep so that when the inhale comes down, the diaphragm's pulling down, the abdomen does expand, so do the side ribs and the back waist. And as the breath is coming down, the diaphragm is putting pressure in the abdomen. On the return, you get to have this squeeze. And think of that as a rhythmic squeeze in the body, rhythmic like when you're rinsing and soaking and then squeezing a sponge. Exhale around to center. Please cross the ankles opposite. So your right one's going to go on the inside, left one on the outside. Bring your right hand across to your left knee. Twist to your left. We're getting a relationship going with the internal organs and the invisible systems of vitality in the body. We also want to have that rhythmic inhale coming down and a rhythmic exhale going out. And think of each breath as embodying your mantra. May you be at peace between you and your body, between all the systems of your body. May there be peace. May we have peace between our thoughts and our actions, our values and our behaviors in every way. And then exhale and come around to face forward. And let's take notice again, just a little echo happening in the body from that practice. We're going to go more deeply into the lymph in the inner groin right now. So I'd like you to sit in a specific way. If you bring the left foot to the inside, and then the right knee comes up against your chest. So we want to temporarily close the hip joint right here. Okay, so in that closure, you can have the knee and the foot a little bit to the side if you need to. Okay, and then wrap your left hand around your right shin and twist to your right. And notice that when there's compression like this, the thigh and the abdomen are touching, the breath is automatically going to be more distributed into the back of the body. So let's think about that as the mantra going into the adrenals. And each breath is like a prayer for that inner peace. And we also can think of it as internal alignment or homeostasis. And then exhale, come around to face forward. Now let's keep the right knee up to the chest. Walk to the side with your shin if you need to, and come forward. So the hips can stay on the bolster or the blanket. When you reach the right arm forward, you can either go forward with your arm, the knee stays up near your shoulder, or you could take your right arm across your shin and you put a little pressure from the arm back against the shin bone so that your forward bend feels a little bit deeper. Of course, it has to be accessible to you, so adapt where you need to and know that you're closing the hip joint and you've deepened some of that closure by bowing forward to the inside of the thigh and the calf. And then rise up to sitting, and let's take the right leg just out to the side. And notice when you take it out that there's going to be some circulation going down. It should make it all the way to your foot. That's like a flushing process that you're doing right now. And then turn towards your right leg. And this is a good time for your strap, if you need it, to reach your foot, or turn towards your right leg. And let's bring the left hand out over and come down towards Janusirsasana. So seated forward bends have multiple purposes. And we can think of it this morning as the closure that happens for the right hip joint. So if when you come forward, you feel like you're pretty far from your leg, which is very common, by the way, this ability to come down like this is less common and the distance is more common. So in that case, you can bend the right knee so that your torso does touch your thigh. And when you reach across with your strap or your hand, you've got a feeling of broadening the back of the body. Again, we can breathe into the kidneys and the adrenals back there. So whatever you need to do for your torso and your thigh to touch, we want that closure, and we want the back of the body to feel broad. Forward bends are also inherently calming to the nervous system. So as you say to your adrenals, may we be at peace, probably seems a little bit more believable to them than if you were in traffic running about trying to do too many errands in a short amount of time. And let's rise up to sitting. And again, when you come up to sit, you can have the right leg out straight once again. So if you had the knee bent, go ahead and straighten it and see if you can sense that bit of runoff that goes down your leg. Now bring your right leg in. Take the left leg out. Oh, sorry, other side of the twist first. So left knee up to the chest. Yep. We want some contact here. So the leg could be a little to the side if that helps, or it can be directly in front if that's your preference. Cross your right hand. Good. And then take the left hand behind and twist to your left. Allow the compression of the abdomen against your thigh to distribute the breath into the back of your waist. And let the breath be your personal mantra each time it comes through. Right? May you be at peace. May all the parts of you be at peace with each other, and may you have a sense of harmony between your thoughts and your actions, your values, your behaviors, the systems of your body at every level. Exhale and come around to face forward. And then whether the leg is a little bit to the side or more close, we're going to come forward. So try to keep your hips on your bolster or your blanket. And you may just decide to reach the left arm forward and down, or you could take the arm across and press your upper arm back against your shin bone. It just adds a little bit of a more snug squeeze to the pose. It's not required, but might feel enjoyable. And even as you encounter sensations in your body this morning, you can use that mantra like, right now, may you be at peace between your body sensations and your respect for those sensations. And then inhale and rise up to sitting. And take the left leg out. And just for a few moments, notice the runoff that's going to happen after you release the compression of the hip joint. It's going to go down. Great. And then we're going to rotate towards the left leg. And again, you're going to bend your knee if you need to, so that when you come over, you do have your torso contacting your thigh. Depends on your flexibility, and there's no judgment about that. We all have different genetic capacity for flexibility, and then we have different spectrums with our health. From time to time, we are not as flexible. So when you come down, do it within your own capacity. And allow the breath to broaden across the back of your waist. And then with your in-breath, start rising back up to sitting. And if you had the leg bent, then go ahead and straighten it. And notice again, the circulation returns down your leg. And then cross your ankles or take a seat that's comfortable for you. And again, come to noticing. Now I'm going to ask you to have a chair, the bolster or the blanket that you're sitting on, a couple of blocks, and you may then also want to have another blanket to cover up with. And this is where the blocks come in. This morning, there's a really, really helpful lymph drainage pose practice that's also really great for the nervous system and for your heart and your mind. And it specifically is legs up the wall pose, but not everyone has the hamstring flexibility for the legs to go up the wall. So we're going to modify like this. Take a chair, and you're going to place the chair so that it's going to face towards you. And then take two blocks and place them up. So we're going to try to aim that to be where the ankles go, so we can make a cascade of the legs. We could just put the legs up on the chair seat, then the knees will be bent at a particular angle. So it's a little bit less of a waterfall. And we are aiming for this to be a drainage process, essentially. So then reach for a blanket if you need one to cover up with, which I prefer. You're going to take support for the hips also. So it's going to be this like waterfall all the way down to the heart and then to the head. To get into position, let me put this where I can reach it. You're going to kneel to the side of your blanket or your bolster. Place your hips on the blanket. Roll up onto the back of the blanket or the bolster, or I should say on the top of it with your lower back. We want your pelvis to be supported here, and that the support doesn't really go higher than, it's not intruding on your rib cage. Then you want to be able to take the legs up so your knees go up on the front edge of the chair. And I happen to know that those blocks the right height for my ankles because I've done this before. You might have to fiddle with it a little bit to get that to work, but I do want your feet to be higher than your ankles, higher than your shins, higher than your knees. Like there is that gravitational support. And then you take your blanket to cover up with. This is like a yoga dance of its own, right? Organizing the blankets. And once you get settled in, so this pose is also passive. You get to rest in this position, and we recommend 15 to 20 minutes like this for the lymph system to happen. This also can promote better sleep, actually better digestion as well, and an easier time experiencing a deep breath. And by deep, we don't mean quantity. We mean like the breath is deeply received in your body, and you sense the breath making its way down into the pelvis, not just breathing with the chest. Upper chest breathing elicits your sympathetic nervous system to respond. And this elicits the parasympathetic nervous system to respond. Go ahead and close your eyes. Let's imagine the lymph that you just moved in both of those yoga vignettes. And now this one is a passive restorative practice. And all the systems of your body will know just what to do here. Allow yourself the grace of resting. You are worthy of resting and sensing your body intelligence caring for you. There's nothing you need to do during this particular practice. We don't recommend daydreaming or planning or reviewing, so let your mind rest in the present. Use your mantra, may I be at peace. May we be at peace. Allow this time to be very simple, just deeply quiet. May I be at peace. May we be at peace. You might start noticing the sensations of a little more blood supply in the torso, in your head, in your face. Remind yourself that all the systems in your body are getting notified right now. The lymph system is doing the final cleansing process from the practice we had. The nervous system is recognizing it's a parasympathetic time. The digestive system can resume and turn back on. Your immune system is going to recognize it can also resume caring for you. As the same with your endocrine system. And rest with an inner attitude of peace and patience. This practice requires the time we're giving to it, and we're not trying to speed it up. Allow the process to continue without daydreaming, neither planning nor reviewing, only resting. And give yourself the gift of this time for renewal. Allowing whatever comes for sensations or moments where you feel more grounded, welcoming that as a practice. You have permission to feel more mentally grounded. We're going to rest for one more minute here. So together in this particular practice, we'll do about 10 or 11 minutes of this one. But when you practice in daily life, you can do a full 20 minutes to be confident about the whole process. Slightly wiggle your toes, your fingers. Bring your knees towards your chest. We're going to put the blanket aside so that you're unencumbered for rolling to the side. Roll down from your blanket or your bolster. And press up to kneeling or sitting. Return to your seat. And as you come to your seat, take a minute to sit upright and really acknowledge the transformation. So if any part of the practice was challenging for you, the other really cool thing to do is to make it a consistent practice, even using this video, and then see as it's getting easier, what's happening is your lymph system is like disembarking more rubbish. Pardon me for being so blunt about it, but sometimes the practices are hard because the lymph is actually backed up and the arms feel heavy, the legs feel heavy. We don't have that much flexibility or mobility. So repeating this practice, you actually could find the evidence in the practice like, oh, some things are getting easier to do. So come into your seat. Notice how you're feeling, what's happening with your mind. And appreciate yourself for making the time for your practice. Please raise your hands to your heart and give yourself the appreciation, really like whole body appreciation. You could have done something different. You know, in my eating disorder days, I would have been roaming the streets looking for the next cookie or, binge spot. And so you've been here, you've been practicing. So really deep appreciation, double fold. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. And of course, if this practice is helpful to you, please leave a comment below the video. Also, remember to like anything you see on the YouTube series so I know what's helpful for you, and subscribe to the channel so you'll get notifications when the next practice comes out. And I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you once more. Bye for now.